Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews, stimulating conversations, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs. Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. Keep following the leader. Follow the leader. You ready?
It's time for the Rob Report with Robin Ayers.
Highlighting people and things you should know about.
Robin's got you covered. Follow Robin at Robin Ayers. You're listening to the Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
Robin's got a lot to talk about.
I see dead people.
Nothing on that beat.
Hey, Mustard on the beat. Default in rap. Yeah, free throw, man down, call it ambulance. Tell him free, bro. Nail it to the cross, he walk around like Tito. What's up with these jabronis? Trying to see Compton. The industry can hate me. For Marlon, they mama. How many options you really got? I mean, it's too many options. I'm finna pass on this body. I'm John Stockton. Beat your and hide the Bible if God watching. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show. Certified boogie man, I'm the one that up to score with him. Walking down whole time, I know he got some on him. Pull on him, extort, really the phone.
You are inside the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580, where we bring you the latest in entertainment news, trending topics, and interviews. I'm your host, Robin Ayers, with you Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. It is Monday. We are starting this thing all over again. What a day. It's been a great day. That right there. Not like us. Kendrick Lamar. Whoa. He did it again. Oh, my goodness. Over the weekend. It was a lot going down over the weekend. Whoa. They not like us. Listen, they were playing this over at the Dodger Stadium on the loudspeaker, and they said the whole crowd was chanting. I mean, it is just Kendrick was already up, don't get me wrong, but that song right there really made the West Coast stand up.
West Coast.
West Coast all day. This is what I believe everybody was waiting for from Kendrick Lamar, just something that was a dance record. They're playing this in the clubs. They're playing this everywhere, but it's the epitome of West Coast hip-hop. It sounds so this is what we've been missing. We haven't had a record like this in a cool minute.
DJ Mustard on the beat, man.
Yeah, DJ Mustard on the beat. Well, listen, Raw Squad, I see you guys joining. Happy Monday to you guys. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. This coming weekend is Mother's Day. What do you have planned? Are y'all just hanging out? Are we eating? Are we brunching? We doing little champagne, little mimosas? What are we doing here? Whatever you decide to do, I hope that it's, it feels good to you, whatever it is. Andy?
Shout out to the men out there holding it down, you know what I'm saying, doing their fatherly duties and their motherly duties. Shout out to the fathers out there.
Definitely shout out to the dads out there. Listen, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. We need to do some things around mental health awareness. We just have to, just because I believe it's a responsibility on all of us. If there are, I know several people out there who really, this is their life, their livelihood. They actually, have careers in mental health, and they really talk and teach and create awareness around mental health. So I need to do something about. I'm not sure yet what it would be, but we have to do something. So I'm very aware of that. But it's definitely mental health awareness, so I want to make sure that you guys are paying close attention to how you're feeling, what you're feeling like, and make sure that you pay close attention. The Met Gala is happening right now. Well, the people are arriving right now. They say it's the biggest night in fashion. Okay. People really wait by the television to see who's showing up and what they're wearing. This is a big deal for a lot of people. A lot of the times the fashion is avant-garde, and that just means it's over the top. They'll have a theme for the gala each year. And a lot of the times, of course, the fashion is just over the top. It's fun. It's a time to get super dressed up and get your makeup done and jump into an imaginary world, be creative and all of those things. So we'll see. There's a lot of people showing up right now on the carpet, and they look really good. But I have to say, Doja Cat, I don't know what's up. Doja Cat She showed up to the Met Gala in a towel. Yeah, she showed up in a towel and hair wrapped in a towel and mascara running down her face. I don't know what the theme is, but I also don't know what the point was to show up that way. Some people just want, to just shock you. And so, sure, shock and awe. Shock and awe. She did it. So, congrats. If that was your ankle, Doja Cat, then congratulations to you, Andy.
Come on now, Lil Kim, VMAs some years ago, Lady Gaga with the meat outfit. I mean, it's entertainment. I expect that from artists like that.
Sure. I mean, Doja Cat is a little, she pushes the envelope a little bit.
100%.
And the Met Gala really is supposed to be more classy. It's supposed to be an elegant event. But that's not the way it's looking for Doja Cat right now. Anyway, Kendrick Lamar's After All This Beef, Kendrick Lamar's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, it re-entered this week's Billboard 200 charting at number 192. So that happens a lot when some artist is really they're trending for one reason or another. Many times they'll rise back into the Billboard chart. So good for him. Good for him. I'm sure that is a great deal. So congrats to Kendrick Lamar. We're still going to talk a little bit about this battle because it is so big. This is probably one of the biggest hip-hop battles that we've seen in really a long time. And not that they haven't been existing. They've existed, but they have not reached this level of controversy, this level of success, I would say, because everybody's talking about it. No matter who you are, they're talking about it. And we'll talk about it because it's one of our topics today. Tyler Perry and Devon Franklin are set to produce a Bible-inspired love story titled R&B. Now, this is different, and it's kind of cool. Devon Franklin and Tyler Perry, but mainly Devon Franklin has been known to kind of get into the inspirational Bible-led type of movies, very faith-based movies. But he's partnering with Tyler Perry, and they're doing several modernized versions of stories in the Bible. And this particular one is going to focus on Ruth and Boaz, hence R&B. I think that's pretty cool. I can't wait to see what they come up with. But it looks like they have some great people attached to this project. So I'm sure it's going to be good. You got Tyler Perry and Devon Franklin. They're both veterans at this. What's funny, Andy?
You think there's going to be a Madea appearance?
No. I think Tyler Perry I think he knows where to bring Madea out, and it has to be a Madea movie or some sort in that universe. But other movies that he produces, he just produces and leaves Madea at home. So he better leave Madea at home on that one. Last thing, Exhibit, and the rapper Exhibit, he announced that there's going to be a return of MTV's Pimp My Ride. I thought that was shocking, and I'm really surprised because I haven't heard anything about it. He just said it, and it's funny enough coming out May 9th. That's just in a couple of days. So come on, MTV. I mean, where's the promotion behind this? I don't know if people really want to see it or not. I thought back in the day it was a good show, such as MTV Cribs was a good show, but I don't think they'll bring that out. And I'm actually pretty shocked with Pimp My Ride because we know now, I think we know better. A lot of these artists are renting cars, they are renting homes, and a lot of that stuff really isn't theirs. Back in the day, we used to really be curious about it and say, like, oh my gosh, like we're able to see the place of where they live or the car that they drive. But it's not really how it is in reality, so I'm not sure about this. This is going to be an interesting one.
I mean, I hope there's a new format with regards to that, because I ain't going to lie, even when the show was cracking back then, I used to, ask myself, these average Joes are getting their rides pimped. Are they really about to be driving around the city with all that? Right. You're just asking to get robbed or whatnot. So yeah. I hope it's a situation where they just kind of just pimp rides and not, attach it to, somebody who's fixing up their car or whatnot, and just keep it that way.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of those cars back in the day, they would have microwaves or it was just crazy. And to this day, I have never seen in real life someone driving around in a car that has been pimped on MTV. I've never seen it, so that's just me. Let's get into the Raw Report, Andy.
Now it's time for a breakdown.
Today is it's one of those days. It's probably going to be controversial, people on both sides. I want to know where you stand as you are listening to this show. Today we're talking about Pastor Keion Henderson, who you might know. I never really knew who he was, but we know him now as married to Shawnee, who was formerly known as Shawnee O'Neal, but she's Shawnee Henderson now. So Pastor Keion Henderson was in church, and he shushed a woman, and he snapped at this woman she was under the spirit and sort of yelling out under the spirit. And how it happened, the way that it happened, people are debating who was right. Was he wrong for admonishing her that way? Was he right for correcting her and stopping all of that? Because it was sort of disruptive. We have the clip that we'll play for you. And if you haven't seen it, I'm sure you can Google it or YouTube it or something. But we'll at least play the audio version for you so you can give your input on it. But many people talk about these are one of the many things that happens in churches that sort of turn people away from church. But I have things that I would like to add. We'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about DJ Vlad, who was going back and forth with this black woman. She happens to be a Princeton University professor, and they were going back and forth after she tried to remove him from the conversation of the hip-hop battle. She says basically, and I quote, she says, "This conversation is and should center black people, not you." And as we know, DJ Vlad is not a black man. That's a white man. But he has built an entire sort of empire on black culture. So it was a whole back and forth, and I'll tell you what he tried to do. Was he successful or not? We'll break it down with our entertainment contributor who is on the line with us. All on the other side, you're listening to the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580. Stay there.
I'm Avery Wilson, and you're watching It's Robin Ayers.
You're inside the Raw Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, it's Tavis Smiley. First, thank you for your support of KBLA Talk 1580. We deeply appreciate you. So, I get asked all the time, Tavis, when are you going to bring back that State of the Black Union symposium you used to do? You know the one where you had all those black intellectuals on stage every year and everybody watched all day live on C-SPAN? Well, I am pleased to tell you that if you go to KBLA1580.com right now, you can sign up to be in the audience here in Los Angeles when we go back live on C-SPAN with a stage full of black thinkers and influencers for a historic conversation. America has never seen a stage full of black folk talking about the urgency of now. Climate justice, climate equity, climate resilience. It's going down Tuesday, June 18th, 4 to 7 p.m. at the California Science Center in Exposition Park. Admission is free, but you must register at KBLA1580.com. Once we reach capacity, you'll have to watch us on C-SPAN. But if you want to be in the room when we go live from Los Angeles, Tuesday, June 18th, head to KBLA1580.com right now to reserve your seat. Caring about the climate, caring about the community. With KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
I'm going out with the girls this weekend. Nails done, outfit stunner, and my skin, I know it's going to be glowing because I glammed up my shower routine with new Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. It smells so luxurious and moisturizes deep into my skin with its super rich, creamy lather that's bursting with vitamin D3. So my skin glows and my confidence grows. Try new Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash for glowing skin in just 14 days. If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Watch out! You got me.
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Giving you your daily dose of entertainment and celebrity news. You're inside the Robin Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
And I am not here to talk about these topics by myself. We have on the line with us Nick Hamilton of Nightcast Media. What's up, Nick?
Hey, what's happening?
You know, I'm chilling. It's a good Monday. We usually have you in studio, but Nick, you know, you are busy here and there, you know, doing news segments and sports segments and all of that stuff. So, you know. Hockey segments. Yeah, Nick is getting it. He's doing his thing out there. So, I know you've been busy, but happy to have you on the show today, of course. Shall we jump right in, Nick?
I mean, thank you for having me on once again. I appreciate it. I mean, let's do this.
Absolutely.
Let's dance.
Absolutely. Let's dance. All right. So let's go ahead and play the clip for everybody. This is Pastor Keion, I believe it's Keion Henderson, who is in the middle of church. This is worship. You can hear silence for the most part. Everybody's sort of in a worship mode, but in the background you hear a woman who's sort of crying out under the Spirit, and he shushes her. Let's take a listen to what happened. And it ain't going. That's how quiet it was in the church. It was quiet like that. No, it wasn't quiet all the way like that. It was music going on, of course. Again, that's what we do in church, praise and worship. This clip is so funny. We'll play it in a second, but it's so funny that it's becoming, first of all, when I looked at it, just a few like hours after it had been uploaded, there were somewhere around 76,000 comments. I mean, people were going in. That's not a normal amount of comments on a post. Mm-hmm. That is extreme. I think we have it working now. Let's take a listen to this clip right here.
Hey. Stop her. Hush, hush. Silence in the name of Jesus. I lift my hands into the only voice I want heard is his. So praise.
Wow. Well, there you have it. As you heard, he said, silence in the name of Jesus. And his voice is the only voice that I want to be heard right now. But he did continue to sing himself. Other members of the choir continued to sing a little bit. Nick, as you can imagine, this is one of those things that people stir up online. What are your thoughts about what happened right there?
I mean, first of all, the next time I want to tell somebody to shut the hell up, I'm going to be like, silence in the name of Jesus. That's what I'm going to use that one. Secondly, was she under the Spirit or under the influence of Spirit? I mean, I don't know. I couldn't really tell. Third, man, you know, it's kind of hard. I mean, I don't go to church like that, so I don't know. I've been so far removed from it. I haven't, you know, I remember people used to do that when I was little, you know what I'm saying, and going to school and, you know, grabbing the chandelier and spitting up all on the carpet. Some people do it because they really into it. Some people do it for show because they're trying to outdo the next person that's next to them. So I don't know if that was her get down. I'm not going to cast any aspersions on that. But, you know, when my man said, only voice I want to hear is Jesus, I didn't hear Jesus' voice. So I don't know, maybe he was hearing something we all, maybe Jesus tuned in only on his frequency. I don't know. But it's kind of hard to tell somebody not to do something, especially if they feel in a certain particular way. You know, in church, it's a very slippery slope, and I think you have to be very, very careful and respectful. You know, I mean, I crack jokes, but I don't ever disrespect anybody's religion. You know, what they believe is what they believe, but, you know, I think oftentimes it's a very slippery slope. It's something that you have to be very, very careful because you don't want to offend somebody and then turn them away as a result, or turn other people away as a result. So I think you have to basically treat it with kid gloves. I think he could have said it or maybe whispered that to her, or had his security team kind of let her know in so many ways, like, hey, you need to pipe down. Like, you're getting a little higher than the decimals in this church. You know what I mean? And do it in a way where it doesn't embarrass her.
Now, do you think this is a fair statement? I heard read several people's comments where they said only people who attend church and people who consider themselves Christians can weigh in on this topic. If you don't go to church, if you don't know what's going on, you can't even speak on this topic. Is that a fair statement?
No, it's a stupid statement. It's a selfish statement, and it's a bunch of sheep that say that, and then you wonder why people don't want to be bothered with the church, because you have these arrogant pricks that think they're holier than thou, and they want to step on their soapbox and wag their fingers and act like they're better than everybody. And this is why it's a complete turnoff. People have a right to their opinions, right, wrong, or indifferent. People have the right to their opinions. Some are intelligent, some are not. But it's not up to you to say these people don't have a right to talk about this. Now, they may not have the intellect to go deeper because they may not have the knowledge or the wherewithal to be involved, you know, in church or understand that particular religion. And you are limited in your conversation because you're not engulfed in that particular religion or how services go or don't go or what have you, especially if you're on the outside looking in. So, yeah, your opinion or your viewpoint could be limited, but it still does not give folks the right who are on the inside to say, you can't speak on this per se. You're just going to be limited. Now, if you're going to be disrespectful and ignorant, then yes, you have no right to speak on this because you're ignorant, you don't know at all, and you're just trying to be disrespectful and find a opening to say, see, that's what these people do, you know, just trying to demean somebody's religion. Something like your culture vulture tried to do with a certain professor, but I'm sure we'll get to that later.
I hear your point. Some people are saying, and this to me is fair, what happens all the time on social media is a clip from an entire fight or an entire situation will appear online, and people only get to comment on the clip. People won't even research the entire interview clip or whatever. They won't go and try to research something themselves to see what happened beforehand or even what happened after. Another good example, and I'm sure, Nick, you had to have seen this, rapper Jim Jones was in a physical altercation. It was actually, it was like, whoa. He was arriving at an airport, going down the escalator, and all we see is somebody from behind him began to videotape it. We don't know what happened right beforehand. All we see is Jim Jones takes this guy and sort of body slams him down the escalator, but it had a domino effect. Other people wound up, falling down. I mean, it was a whole thing. Then the guy who was body slammed, his friend tried to jump in and start beating up Jim Jones. It was an entire mess. It was, first of all, unless it's something that serious, I don't like to see for real grown people like Jim Jones or anybody else for that matter physically fighting outside. It's just crazy to me. Unless something really happened to where he had to defend himself. And according to him, he says, they both assaulted me. Again, we did not see that in the video. All we saw was him body slam somebody. So it is a fair statement to say we don't know the entire context of what happened with Pastor Keion and the church member. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think context is very important. But I think also, too, you can't comment on what you see. But I also believe that context is important. So, yeah, you need to have a little bit more of the perspective of the story. I mean, him giving that old man the rock bottom on that escalator, I'm sorry, the jokes were still going to fly. We were all laughing at that because that mess was hilarious. The fact that you see is that man in his 70s or something like that?
I don't know.
That he got involved with?
Well, I really felt bad for the guy who he was just an innocent bystander just standing there on the escalator, and that was an older man who got knocked down because of this body slam. That wasn't funny to me.
I'm talking about just the fact that Jim Jones was actually engaged in an altercation with an older dude. Like, come on, my guy. Yeah. Like, it wasn't even that serious, dude. I'm saying I'm laughing more at Jim Jones trying to explain himself, where it's like, dude, you could have possibly avoided that. I mean, again, we don't know the entire story, but come on, man. Like, that wasn't even necessary. You know what I mean? Like, you could have just, you could have just avoided the situation, because if you harm that man, there's no telling if that man's going to, not necessarily press charges, but he could file a lawsuit against you. Yeah. And now you got to deal with legal issues just because something that could have been avoided, you didn't do it because you wanted to maybe prove a point or what have you.
That's true. Very true. Very true.
It's interesting to see that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Pretty Brown Mimi in YouTube says, as for Pastor Keion Henderson, you can't hush the Holy Spirit. Lavelle Delone says, Pretty Brown Mimi, I agree. He was very wrong. He's gotten way too comfortable. Penny Thompson agrees. She says, can't stop the Holy Spirit. That's God dealing with that person in my MC Hammer voice. Can't touch this. Well, again, this is why people have different beliefs on what happened with that. Some people are saying she did way too much. She was trying to get all this attention. Some people do that. Some people have different reasons for yelling out that loudly, or even if you are under the Spirit or having a moment, some people actually are trying to get attention, saying, look at how the Holy Spirit is dealing with me. Other people are saying, you know what, it could have been another church member to sort of silence her. It didn't have to be the pastor. Let's continue this conversation on the other side, and clearly we all want to get to the DJ Vlad conversation. That is coming up on the other side, but right now, news, traffic, and sports. You're listening to The Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580. Stay there.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Denzel Whitaker, and I'm on The Rob Report.
More of The Rob Report with Robin Ayers when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Reuters is reporting Israel says the ceasefire proposal agreed to by Hamas is unacceptable. An Israeli official told the outlet Hamas approved a softened Egyptian proposal that was not acceptable to Israel. The deal was brokered by Egypt and Qatar. Israel earlier claimed it made serious concessions towards a ceasefire and blamed Hamas for the continued bloodshed. The last Israel-Hamas truce was in late November, where Palestinian prisoners were swapped for Israeli hostages. Albany State University had a special speaker at its commencement ceremony over the weekend. Black U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock delivered remarks about investing in historically black colleges and universities to try and close the racial wealth gap. The ceremony also marked University President Marion Frederick's last commencement. Frederick, who is also black, announced earlier this year she is stepping down as president and has accepted a new role at Georgia State University. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Drive carefully through South LA's 110 North at Adams Boulevard, as a stall is blocking the center lane and a 15-minute backup is running heavy from 51st Street. Heavy traffic over 45 minutes continues to run through Santa Monica's 10 East between Centinela Avenue and the 5-101 interchange. Over on the 405 North before the Mole Hole and Skirball Center Drive interchange, a stall is blocking the carpool lane on the Sepulveda Pass, causing a 35-minute backup from the 10. And glass and debris is scattered in lanes of Culver City's 405 North after Venice Boulevard due to a crash in the middle lanes, and heavy traffic right now is coming from Washington, Culver Boulevard interchange.
Mother's Day is coming up, and Macy's Backstage has amazing deals on great gifts that Mom is going to love, all for $15 and under. Get low prices every day at Macy's Backstage. Find a store near you today at Macy'sBackstage.com. Off price, on trend, arriving daily.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers can scratch Jason Kidd off their list of coaching candidates to replace Darvin Ham. The Dollar Dallas Mavericks signed Kidd to a multi-year contract extension Monday morning. NBA sources claim the Lakers were interested in talking with Kidd whenever the Mavericks season ended. The Mavericks are in the Western Conference semifinals after eliminating the Clippers. They play Oklahoma City tonight in Game 1. Get ready for the Gin and Juice Bowl. Snoop Dogg is getting into the college football bowl business. Snoop and his beverage Gin and Juice are the new sponsors of the Arizona Bowl. This will be the first NCAA bowl game with an alcohol sponsor. The game will be promoted as the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. The game is scheduled for December 28th in Tucson and will feature teams from the Mountain West and Mid-American conferences. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at KBLA 1580. Follow the leader.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews. Follow the leader. Stimulating conversation and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs. Follow the leader. Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. Keep following the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Climate justice, climate equity, climate resilience. By any other name, we demand environmental justice in 2024 and beyond. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles is a nonprofit law firm that protects and advances the rights of the most underserved, leveling the playing field and ensuring that everyone can have access to the justice system. Every year, LAFLA provides free, high-quality legal services to more than 100,000 people living in poverty across greater Los Angeles. Their unique combination of neighborhood offices, self-help centers at courthouses, and domestic violence clinics puts Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles on the front lines in vulnerable communities and at the forefront of change. LAFLA's expert team of attorneys, paralegals, and support staff works to provide direct representation, offer counsel and advice, provide referrals, and educate the community about their legal rights through workshops and seminars. With locations all over LA, you can access their services or volunteer to help no matter where you live. And if you have an urgent issue, call 213-235-0060. That's 213-235-0060. To get legal help, make a donation, or volunteer, visit lafla.org. lafla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed about what's really going on. Who's got next? And what not to miss in entertainment. You're listening to The Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
Useful of vibe is contagious. Look in your eyes, it's dangerous. Graceful, I had all the patience. I know you're going through some changes. You taking pictures, know your angles. Ooh, no, it ain't perfect, but we come close.
You were inside the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580. Well, second half of the show. Welcome on in here if you're just joining us. Happy birthday to Meek Mill. It's also Angel Reese's birthday. Happy birthday to that young lady. Congrats. I hope they're having themselves a wonderful day. We are on the phone with Nick Hamilton talking about Pastor Keion Henderson, who's like, did he do too much in hushing and snapping at a woman for hollering out while she was under the Spirit during praise and worship? Seems as though most of you say, no, he could have handled that with more grace. That's what I tend to think. My stance on this entire thing and how I'll pretty much wrap this up is whether he meant no harm or not. I mean, that's. I don't think he meant her any harm. I think he just spoke out right at the time where he was feeling it. You know, most of us do. And the other thing is that this was his church. You know, it's sort of like home business. Now, the thing that happened was it just happened to be live streaming at the time. And whoever was recording it also recorded the interaction between the pastor and his choir members. So you got to see her first. And my thing is, whether he was right or wrong, you know, I guess we can all have our opinions on that, but it's her embarrassment that I feel bad about. And as a shepherd, you really have to make sure that you handle people carefully. You have to make sure that even if there is harm, because now he has to admit, not only did you do that publicly, but now you're on the shade room, sir, and you're married to Shawnee O'Neal. You understand what reality TV with numbers mean, clickbait means. You understand what all of that is. And so the fact that he embarrassed her, I hope that he can maybe not walk back what he did, but at least go and apologize to her about it. That's how I feel. Nick?
Yeah, I listen, I'm more concerned. First of all, I don't think that was ever supposed to get out. So do you think that social media manager, their role, the live, do you think that password changed this morning for that social media manager?
No, I think that because
they not have a job.
When it's live streamed, obviously everybody has access to it. I think somebody just recorded it. I don't think it had anything.
No, what I'm saying is I don't know if that person, they were supposed to show that part. Like they, you know, sometimes you can like pan away and
right. Oh, I
you know go to a different. You know, so I don't know, man. I don't know if that was supposed to get out on that live like that. Maybe, you know, you may have a new social media person.
Even if he panned away, you still heard what happened. You still heard him hush and snap at this woman. So I'm not sure how much better off he would have been panning somewhere else. I mean, don't get me wrong. That could have been a smart move on the cameraman's part, but you still would have heard.
The live off.
Just turn it all the way off.
The live off like, oops.
Yeah.
No, we ain't gonna record this.
Yeah. Or you know, I don't know what that guy's instructions were either. So I mean, regardless, I just hope that he makes it right. And this woman, I hope that she finds a place of solace, because I'm sure that had to be embarrassing for her. But let's go ahead and move on while we have some time, so we can talk about this whole DJ Vlad thing. Let me go ahead and set this up. And right now, I am going to ask you guys over in our poll, should other races be able to give input on the hip-hop battle? Yes, because Drake himself is half white, right? Drake is biracial, and also his race was brought up multiple times in the battle. So maybe that in and of itself gives leeway for white people, or anybody else for that matter, to weigh in on it. Or are you saying, no, hip-hop is a black thing? Okay, let me go ahead and put that over in the poll. So let me go ahead and lay the foundation for you. Well, DJ Vlad made a statement on, I guess it was X, formerly Twitter, saying Kendrick's Not Like Us song needed a better mix. It takes away from the song. Well, Morgan Jerkins, who happens to be a professor over at Princeton, and according to Fahima, happens to be Rodney Jerkins' niece, which I did not know that, and maybe he did not know that at the time. She responded to Vlad, and she said, "You are white. This is a black folk affair." And he responded, wait, so a professor at Princeton, and he tagged Princeton, is telling me that a white person shouldn't be allowed to voice their opinion about hip-hop? Is that how you interact with your students? She says, what I'm saying is that you put your opinion in a discussion that's not needed. This conversation is and should center black people, not you. He's basically accusing her now of walking back her words. He says, I'll be reaching out to Princeton about this on Monday. She closed it down. She said, listen, basically my contract ended with them last semester, but thanks for trying to bully me out of a job, because essentially that is what he's trying to do, just because your feelings are hurt. And he's saying he continues to tag Princeton and says, it's called a permanent record. Basically, you need to take Princeton out of your profile. I'm going to get you fired, the whole nine. So all of that happened over the weekend. Well, today, DJ Vlad reappeared, and he says, because it's Monday, let me clear the air and state that I never had any intention of filing a complaint to Princeton for former Professor Morgan Jerkins saying that white people aren't allowed to comment on Kendrick Lamar's music. She trolled me, and I trolled back. At the end of the day, it created an interesting discussion about race relations in America. I will be discussing this further in my future interviews. Nick, she did obviously respond, and she said, that's a lie. He did try to get me in trouble. He tagged my employer multiple times. He's intentionally trying to get me fired. She says, I didn't troll him. She just made a statement. Where do you sit with this? I know how you feel about DJ Vlad. Everybody calls him a culture vulture, and that he's built an empire off of the culture, hip-hop and black people, and all of that, and the interviews that he does with people in the industry. But this specific topic right here, should he have been able to weigh in on it?
Allow me a moment, if you clear the lane a little bit. First of all, let me applaud Professor Jerkins for the way she brilliantly handled that. And she did not back down, and she stood up for her. She stayed 10 toes down and stood on business. So let me applaud Professor Jerkins for that. I think she was absolutely right. I think the reason why she said that to Vlad is because Vlad is a racist culture vulture. We've seen oftentimes how Vlad will pin somebody in, will box somebody in, allow them to incriminate themselves, and then turn over evidence, and you start seeing these artists like we've seen get, criminal charges or what have you. And I think the problem is that Vlad is pimped. He hasn't built an empire on black culture. He has pimped black culture. And these knuckle-dragging Negroes have allowed themselves to be pimped as well. Because at this point in time, for people to hurry up and run to Vlad TV or No Jumper or any of these platforms that do not serve us any type of decency, any type of respect, or elevation to the point where when do we get so thirsty that we're so thirsty for numbers and attention, we don't even look at the sources who don't give a damn about us? Because I guarantee you, even though Vlad may be paying people for interviews, you don't get any residuals from those interviews that do 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, views and those residuals that come into Vlad. And the thing about it is, Vlad has done some really inflammatory, disrespectful, despicable things. And so for her to say that, she knew exactly who she was dealing with. There's another white journalist who doesn't get the culture vulture energy or culture vulture tag, and his name is Soren Baker. And Soren Baker is a very respectable journalist who covers hip-hop, who has covered hip-hop for many years, who wrote a book about hip-hop, and yet doesn't get that same label. You know why? Because he respects the culture. He knows how to wipe his feet off before he enters the home of hip-hop. And he understands that he's a guest. No different than Eminem, no different than anybody else who covers hip-hop. I highly doubt if that was somebody else beyond Vlad with the record that he's had against black culture and how he's pimped hip-hop. And again, people have allowed him to pimp hip-hop. Then I think that would have been a different conversation. But because it was Vlad, or even if it would have been Adam 22, I think the conversation would have been similar because of how they view hip-hop, how they view black folks especially, and how they've been able to try to come in and pimp the culture instead of allow the culture to be respected and be able to be a part of this culture.
Nick, I have to let me. I'm not challenging you on this. It's just that I don't know that everyone knows what has Vlad done or said that has been so racist, that has been inflammatory to your words, and not being able to be respected, and why is he called a culture vulture if it's not just about him being white, because there are other people who do it and you say they respect it. So what is different about Vlad? Just enlighten the audience if you don't mind.
Well, what's different for most people that know is that Vlad will pin black artists against one another, knowing that they have a beef or knowing that they have there's an issue, and he will intensify it. He will gaslight them, and he will continue to create those moments so that it can get him numbers. And then what he fails to realize is the fact that they got to still go back on the streets. And you know how the streets are. So, or you get someone indicted because you're asking them these police type of questions, and then they go and get the video. Now, granted, you got to be smarter than that if you're going to engage in a platform of that magnitude. So I'm not putting 100% of the blame from that aspect on Vlad, but also Vlad knows how to control the platform.
But
he knows he's doing it for numbers.
Is that on Vlad though? Let me ask you why. What if this other gentleman, this Soren gentleman, what if he created a platform where he held interviews and he was asking all the right quote unquote questions, right? Because the reason why Vlad interviews, why his interviews seem to be so good, is because people will go on there and they will unveil everything. They will unveil things that you've never heard before, things that you can't even research. Somehow he is able to get those things from him. So is it his fault that he's able to ask the right questions to get that type of information?
It's not his fault, but he knows exactly what he's doing. When you're operating in white supremacy, when you understand what you're doing and how you're questioning, just because you don't say the N-word doesn't mean you can't put a sentence together that represents you calling someone the N-word, a.k.a. calling a black person a thug. We know what that really entails when we've heard other journalists say, oh, they're a thug. We know what you're really trying to say. You really want to say the N-word, but you don't have the courage or the wherewithal to say it. So it's a similar type of mentality when you got a guy like Vlad who is not coming here to uplift the culture. Soren Baker, who does Unique Access, who conducts interviews as well, you don't get that type of energy and that type of vibe from him because, again, he asks the right questions too, but it's a way you go about doing it. You're not trying to infiltrate the culture and act like you're on the side of the culture when you're really just trying to pimp the culture.
Last question that I have for you. Go ahead.
I'm saying oftentimes we have to stop. We have to stop influencing and stop allowing ourselves to go on these type of platforms.
So
but yet again,
you're going
to do that because
you're going to the question that I have briefly because we're low on time. So brief question is, if you know that and other people who are not associated with Vlad or even the artists themselves, why are artists going on here and on his platform to put out? I get the money part of it, but everybody still says you can go and find a clip, a soundbite from every artist who says all money ain't good money, right? So if they know this and if they feel, if you know this and you feel this way about Vlad, why are people still going on and going on to his and giving the information, willingly giving the information, even if they're being paid? In your thoughts, why do you believe that?
Because they're thirsty and they think white ice is colder.
Okay, well, all right. The conversation, I feel like it needs to be extended. I think that especially if there's more information that comes out after this after today's show, and it comes out more what happened with this professor and Vlad, I'm sure we'll talk about it more. Nick, let everybody know where they can find you online, please.
You can find me at Instagram at Nick Hamilton LA, as well as on X at Nick Hamilton 213, and at YouTube at youtube.com/NHExperienceTV.
You're amazing. I appreciate you for jumping in on the Raw Report, and I'm sure we will talk with you in a couple of weeks, Nick. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Appreciate you. God bless.
God bless you. Well, when we come forward, I see we have a call from Fahima. She probably wants to jump in and tie a bow on this DJ Vlad conversation. We'll do that on the other side, as well as a Who's Got Next. You're listening to the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580. Stay right there.
What's up, people? It's your boy Harmony H. Money Samuels, and I'm here on the Raw Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580. What's up?
You're inside the Raw Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. Please talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They want to get your number and put in a false claim.
if I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement. Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol. To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
City of Los Angeles landlords, verify your tenant's emergency renters assistance for rent status today. Tenants approved for rental assistance are protected from eviction for non-payment of rent through May 31st, 2024. Approved rental assistance applications protect tenants from eviction for non-payment of rent. Refusing to accept rental assistance is still under law and can be used as a defense in an eviction case. Check your tenant's application status now at housing.lacity.org. That's housing.lacity.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA reminds you that when we fight, we win, and we don't black down. LA Community Action Network, or LA CAN, was formed in 1999 when 25 residents of downtown LA came together and acknowledged the problems that existed in their community and made a commitment to do something about those problems, to stand together, organize, and become a force in the community that demands change. Civil rights and preventing the criminalization of poverty are their core projects. In addition, they take on women's rights, the human right to housing, and healthy food access. LA CAN also has projects focused on economic development, civic participation, voter engagement, and community media. While downtown LA remains their home base, with a particular emphasis on the Skid Row community, in 2007 they expanded their housing and healthy food access work into South Central Los Angeles. LA CAN believes that power for low-income people and people of color is achieved through a large, active, and well-informed member base that utilizes a multitude of methods to advance their messages and goals. If you'd like to join the Los Angeles Community Action Network and organize people to fight back against oppression, please visit cangress.org. That's cangress.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Giving you your daily dose of entertainment and celebrity news. You're inside the Robin Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
I see some of your comments. Pretty Brown Mimi, she's talking about some of the black women that DJ Vlad has dated, but he stepped over the line a few times. DJ Black 909 says that he appeals to a certain segment of Black America. He needs to stay in his lane. And I hear that Lavelle says Vlad wants to be a notable hip-hop journalist, but he's still just a Wendy Williams with the foolishness in his interviews. Okay, and then DJ Black 909 says, look it up. Listen, for anybody who is confused, who might have questions or want to understand why people have all this smoke for DJ Vlad, then feel free to look it up. But right now, let's go ahead and get to Fahima, who is on the line with us, and I'm sure she wants to jump in on this conversation. Hey, Fahima.
Greetings, Robin and Ruska. I don't need to reiterate much that Nick said. He is messy and he curates beef. That's what Vlad does. Now, in terms of specific conversation, there were black people having a discussion on Twitter. He chose to center himself and inject himself into their discussion. That's what people had an issue with. No one said that he could have done a Twitter space. He could have done a YouTube show about it. No one would have had an issue with that, but he injected himself in the conversation. He attempted to get Professor Jerkinson fired because he tagged Princeton into the tweet. And when he realized who she was, he continued, he reached out to Rodney Jergensen to smooth things over because she said, please stop contacting my family. Mm-hmm. So he centered himself in a discussion that had nothing to do with him. And other people were much harsher than she was. And just to say this, just like myself, I've had 20 contracts. At the end of each semester, your contract ends, and then in the fall, you get another contract. And that's the situation that she's in. So he was sitting here attempting to jeopardize her livelihood and really didn't even realize what he was doing.
Sure. So outside of that conversation, the back and forth that they were having, because I understand your point with that, and she did make that comment. She says, please stop contacting my family. And I'm sure the person who she's referring to, who you let us know about, is Rodney Jerkins, being her uncle. But let me ask you this. If it were not DJ Vlad and it was just a white man who loves hip-hop and wanted to join in on the conversation, would that have been acceptable?
We had a situation where black people were having a space earlier about this, and a white person came into the space. We didn't have a problem with him coming into the space, but when he attempted to center himself in the conversation, inject himself, we told him where to go. He has a right to be on there. No one said he couldn't read the tweets, but to inject yourself into other people's conversation is not appropriate. Well, I don't go into some of these spaces or inject myself into conversations that people are having that I don't know. He was wrong.
Okay.
And it was his privilege that made him think it was okay.
Okay, maybe I'm having a hard time understanding. I get that everybody has this issue with DJ Vlad. I'm not negating that or what the things that he's done wrong in the past. I'm not negating that at all. But if he does know about hip-hop, listens to hip-hop, and he makes a statement about the song, I don't feel the comment was even right, but he says the comment basically is talking about it needed to be mixed, and that took away from the song. Is that not him just commenting about his opinion on the song, or is that him saying censored? Hold on, let me get my question out. Thank you so much. Is that him just centering himself in it, just to say, look at me, or is that him just giving an input just like everybody else is? Quickly, you got about 15 seconds.
I wouldn't care if he had a space or if he did a YouTube discussion. That would have been his right. The problem was he injected himself into this discussion with black people.
Okay,
that's
understood.
The problem.
Okay, and I see a lot of people have a problem with this, so Fahima is not, she's not alone here. And but you guys here on YouTube, you say 57% of you right now say other people could, other races are able to give their input on this hip hop battle because Drake is half white, and that was a part of that's a part of the battle, right? And 43% of you say no, it's a black thing. All right, so interesting conversation tonight. We may not be done with it, but I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in and rocking with me. You can't change the station though, not right now, because Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, is up next and about to bring a fire show like he always does. Well, you guys, I appreciate you so very much. My name is Robin Ayers, and remember, today and every single day forward, be a blessing.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Former President Trump is back in a New York City courtroom as his criminal hush money trial enters its fourth week. The judge in the case found him in contempt of court for a 10th time for violating a gag order.